Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to my new show. I am so excited to be doing videos again, but before we get started, I just wanted to address something really quickly. I know a lot of you have been asking, what's going on with the Brandy and Billy show. So I'll keep it simple. We decided to go in different directions and just build our own platforms. And, life shifts and things evolve and, that's okay. And also, a side note, I had to refilm this intro. So if the background suddenly changes and there's a couch in it, don't be alarmed. I'm rearranging my office at the moment. And, this is also my first solo episode. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of slack right now. If you've been following my work, don't worry, that's not changing. I'm still going to be covering everything regarding Charlie Kirk. I'm going to be going to the trials, everything like that. But I'm also going to be branching out into other topics that interest me as well. But today, we are going to be talking about Erika Kirk. And there is a lot to cover, so I'm probably going to be breaking everything regarding her into a couple different episodes. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you've been following me for a while, welcome back and thank you. Like and subscribe if you're feeling it. And let's get into it. Welcome to the very first episode of the Brandy Siciliani Show. Okay, so the big question of the day, why is Erika Kirk so controversial? That's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to walk through her past, the claims that she's made that haven't exactly held up, and why so many people have serious concerns when it comes to her credibility and her character. So, in this episode, we're going to go through some of the most talked about viral clips of Erika and some relationships that Erika's had that have raised some eyebrows, let's just say, and basically just break down what's been said, what's been shown, and why people really aren't buying it. Okay, and listen, you might dislike Erika Kirk, you might love Erika Kirk. Either way, this episode's for you, regardless of your opinion. The goal here is not to tear someone down, right? It's to lay everything out in one place, connect the dots, and give some context to why this has become such a big conversation. Because the reality is that a lot of people are only hearing one side. They're not digging deeper. They're not cross-checking. They're definitely not seeing the full picture. So that's what we're doing here. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard these pieces before. And, none of this is breaking news. But my goal here is to put together the most important parts and then just lay them out clearly. And yes, I'll be giving my opinion. That's kind of the point. But everything we're talking about today is based on publicly available information, research, and what others have already brought forward. And of course, everything here is always allegedly. So let's break it all down. Okay, so the first controversial clip that I want to pull up is from when Erika was running for Miss USA. So Erika won Miss Arizona in 2012 and went on to compete in Miss USA that same year. And so now here's where things start to get interesting. If you go to the Miss USA YouTube channel, you'll find interview clips for just about every single contestant who competed that year, except for Erika. Everyone else has one. Hers is literally nowhere to be found. And naturally, that raises questions as to why. Because at one point, that interview did exist. It just didn't stay public. But someone managed to save it before it was taken down. And let's just say what she says in that clip doesn't exactly line up with the values she promotes today. So I'm going to play that for you and then I'll give you my opinion. So let's play this video.
If I could be great at one thing, I wish that I could sit in front of a mirror or a makeup mirror in general and spend more than just 20 minutes to a half hour looking at myself and actually take the time to put my makeup on and do my hair. Because after a while, after that 20-minute mark, I'm like, okay, tinted moisturizer, slab of mascara, lip gloss, out the door. If I could have it that way, it would be perfect. So I might need to work on that. I have respect for the individuals that are in the pornography industry, not because they're degrading women or anything like that, but because that's their field and they are professionals. So I give them credit for being able to have a job and make money and stimulate the economy that way. But I think that there needs to be a way to shield it from the overall public, such as the kids, keep it away from them. But in general, that's a tough one. I really have to say that we live in a free country, so if you want to watch it, turn on your pay-per-view. If not, then why don't you turn on something else that's a little bit more G-rated?
Okay, so in that clip, she basically talks about supporting people in the pornography industry, specifically saying she gives them credit for making money and stimulating the economy. And she even expressed support for people who watch it, right? Now, that stands out, especially considering Charlie Kirk has been very publicly against that industry. So it does raise a fair question. Was he aware of her views at that time? And look, you know what? To be fair, people do change. Views evolve. That is completely normal. If she felt one way back then and feels differently now, that's literally not the issue. The question is, why not say that? Why not be upfront and acknowledge the shift instead of allegedly having Miss USA YouTube channel remove or private the video from their channel? Because when things get removed or hidden, it tends to create more questions than answers, right? And when you look at the bigger picture, it's hard to not notice a contrast. The version of Erika that we see now feels very different from who she was back then, which leads people to wonder how much of that change was natural and how much of it was shaped by the life that she stepped into. Again, allegedly. Let's keep going. Okay, so do you guys remember that one time Erika's in an interview with Barry Weiss on CBS and she talked about her time living in New York for 5 years, which was 2013 to 2018. Remember, she said she didn't date or drink. Well, in case you forgot, let's take a look at that video.
But what I will say is when I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than going, I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract a Charlie. Are you going to church? Are you going to Bible study? Did you tell your pastor that you are ready for the Lord to bring into your life the man that you've been praying for? You yourself need to be prepared for that man, and only you will know how to do that. Does that mean staying out and going out with the girls? I'm not saying you sit on your couch and all of a sudden he's going to knock on your door and be like, honey, let's rendezvous. Like, that's not how it happens. It's not. Granted, my situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. Thank you, but no, we're not doing this. That was my mindset. I was not in that headspace. I just wasn't.
Yeah. So this is where things don't add up like at all. And I'm going to prove it to you. The statements that Erika made in that interview failed to align with the facts. Because when you actually look at the timeline, there are some very, very clear inconsistencies. So Erika and Charlie said that they started dating around September of 2018. And part of that story includes the job interview at Bill's Burgers, where after a long conversation, he chooses not to hire because he wants to date her instead, right? Now, Erika claimed that she hadn't dated anyone for 5 years prior to that when she was living in New York, which would mean, according to her, that between 2013 and 2018, there was no one else. But that's where things get questionable, because back in 2013, Erika Kirk, then going by Erika Francevay, was reportedly in a relationship with basketball player Joshua Harrelson. And this is not some vague rumor floating around. There are public traces of that connection. Joshua Harrelson's X handle, previously known as Twitter, is at BigJorts55. And I'm telling you this for a reason, because I want to show you a few things. Erika has deleted a significant amount of her older posts and photos. If you go to her X account now, it only goes back to like mid-2021. So on the surface, it looks pretty clean, right? But the internet doesn't really work like that. Even if the original posts are gone, the interactions around them aren't always gone too. So the replies and the comments tend to stick around. So, for example, this comment is from March 6, 2013, which says, at Erika Francevay, "Aw, I just found out you and Big Jorts are together. He's a cutie and he was my fave #BBN player during his time." Here's another one from July 24th, 2013. "This pic brought tears to my eyes. Amazing view, amazing life, and amazing couple." And one more example. Here's one from November 11th, 2013 that says, tagging Erika and Josh, "It's the best when it's like that. Everything is just practice until the one." So she was dating this guy, and the relationship appears to have taken place between early 2013 and early 2014, allegedly. And it doesn't stop there. So not long after her relationship with Joshua Harrelson ended, she was linked to another athlete, baseball player Joseph Tyler Massey, who also goes by JT Massey. And according to them, their first date was in March 2014, and I will show you a video here in a minute that's proving that. So here's a photo of them that Erika shared on May 29th, 2014, where the two of them are together making a fort with blankets or something. And that's cute, right? I mean, forts are fun. And I do want to give credit where it's due. So shout out to Nissy Social for digging this up. She's one of the original people that I saw bring attention to this photo. And there's more that backs this up. Actually, shout out again to Nissy for also highlighting this article I'm about to pull up from Arizona Foothills Magazine, which was published in November 2014. The piece is titled "An Ideal Day According to Erika Francevay." And it's essentially a glimpse into her day-to-day life at the time. And in that article, she doesn't hint at a relationship. She states it directly. She refers to JT Massey as her boyfriend. Her words, not mine. And she said, and I will quote, "5:30 p.m., happy hour with my favorite human and best friend, JT Massey. Also, conveniently enough, my incredible boyfriend, talking about everything from his day at the baseball field to the latest with his music group, Saving Southern." And there's even more that adds to this. In 2014, Erika and JT Massey also auditioned for the TV show The Amazing Race. And there's a clip from that audition that's been circulating around online. And a quick shout out to Project Constitution for bringing attention to it. I originally saw this video on his X account. And in the video, there's a moment where Erika says, "Sex sells, babe, even though it's against our religion." And then they both laugh together. And you know what? I am not here to judge anyone's past or their sense of humor at all. That is not the point. The issue is consistency, because you can't go on national television, present one version of your life, and then have multiple clips, articles, and relationships that suggest something is very different. That's where people start to question what's real and what isn't. So let's just play that clip.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning, America.
I've lived in China. I've lived in Chongqing. I've been to Romania. I've been to Croatia. Lived in Puerto Rico for a little bit. Really handsome.
You look gorgeous. Are you fixing my... I got a little bacon. Babe, that's deep in there. Give them a cleavage. People want cleavage. Showcase it.
Sex sells, babe.
Sex sells. That's me.
That's against our religion.
It's not. It's within the confines of marriage.
I don't... We need...
What? We're checking the lighting? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we're checking the lighting. Roll camera one! Hi, I'm JT Massey. I am 25 years old from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm a minor league baseball player with the Colorado Rockies, and I'm going to be racing with my girlfriend.
Hi, I'm Erika Kirk. I'm 25 years old from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I currently live in Venice, California.
So March 1st, we went on our first date.
Well, I got it wrong because I thought it was
Yes.
the day before, and I called him and I was like, hi, so I'm going to be running late for our date, and he's like, actually, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sitting at dinner with my dad in Arizona, and I'm like, did I mess up the date or what? End up standing up from the table to call her, and she messed up the date.
I did. So we went to Maggiano's.
Yeah, it worked out.
It was good.
We went to Maggiano's. I picked her up. It was raining.
It was.
Kind of different night in Arizona, and picked her up at her house, and later met her mom on the first night.
It's a big deal for the
Exciting
first
stuff.
night.
Yeah, I'm not trying to scare her off or anything.
So, yeah, JT confirmed their first date was March 1st, 2014. And did anyone else catch that part where she said she lived in Venice, California? Because I thought the story was that she lived in New York from 2013 to 2018. Or at least that's what she said. Now, maybe she spent some time in California while technically still living in New York. You know, maybe there's an explanation for that. But once again, it's just another detail that doesn't fit neatly into the timeline. So after her relationship with JT Massey ended, she was also linked to Cabot Phillips. And based on what I could find, her relationship with Cabot Phillips started in 2016 and lasted until early 2018, allegedly. Not 100% certain on the dates, but there is a video of her ringing in the new year, the 2018 new year, with Cabot Phillips and her mother. Here's a photo of them painting where Cabot captions it, "Yes, we're that couple who gets painting lessons together." So who exactly is Cabot Phillips? Well, he's a conservative media personality and political commentator, and currently serves as senior editor for the Daily Wire. And here's where it gets very, very interesting. He also participated as a speaker for Turning Point USA at an event called How to Lead Like Charlie. Yes, you heard that correct. I'll say it again. Cabot Phillips participated as a speaker for Turning Point USA at an event called How to Lead Like Charlie. Here is the flyer from that event, and it is dated November 6, 2025, so about 2 months after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's kind of weird that Erika Kirk's ex-boyfriend is now speaking at Turning Point events about how to lead like Charlie. Don't you think? It's kind of weird. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but it's one of those details that makes people pause for a second and go, okay, that's a little unusual. And another interesting fact about Cabot is that he has the word pizza tattooed on his inner lip right here. In this photo of his tattoo, he says in the caption, "Good to give yourself a little reminder sometimes." Not sure what that means, but I'm sure you're all familiar with Pizzagate, and I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't want my video to get flagged, but it has to do with child trafficking. And if you've been looking into the e-files, I think you know what I'm referring to when I say the e-files, the word pizza is mentioned a lot, and it's a code word. Okay, and I am not saying that Cabot has anything to do with that at all, but it is a very odd choice for a tattoo, especially someone being involved in politics. So after her relationship with Cabot, Erika later appeared on a reality TV show called Summer House, which was filmed in summer 2018 and then aired in 2019. And in that footage, she is seen dating and drinking again within that same general time frame that we've been talking about. Because at this point, we're not just looking at one or two moments, we're seeing a consistent pattern that doesn't quite match her narrative. So let's take a look at that clip.
USA together.
Oh, cool.
So she was Arizona and I was Miss North Carolina.
Okay. I want to meet somebody with the same beliefs. I'm like a really big Christian. I'm like...
So you wouldn't meet him at church or anything?
It's tough because like I watch it online.
I don't think I've ever met anybody that's like, hey, I'm going to go to church on Sunday.
I go to two different churches. It's tough to be a believer in the city.
Yeah.
I think you're a bright light in a very dark place.
So let's go grab a mojito.
Yeah.
We'll go grab a drink.
Oh, fine. Chopped liver.
Apparently.
It's like genuinely refreshing to have a conversation with somebody that like has the same beliefs. You coming in here just like owning it.
I appreciate that.
I'm really attracted to it. Can I get your number? Like,
Yeah.
how do you text with those nails that long too?
They're real.
Then you give like a mean back scratch. I mean, I don't even know how long you've been in New York.
Gosh, New York. I moved here 4 years ago.
How old are you? Can I ask you that?
Okay, so do I care that she was dating and drinking in New York? No, not at all. Like, girl, live your life, okay? I care that she lied about it and then criticized her friends in that CBS interview for doing exactly what she was doing. If you're not being honest about something relatively small, like dating and going out and drinking, then what else are you not being honest about? Because at a certain point, it starts to feel less like personal growth and more like a carefully curated image. And the reality is, when so much of this is documented with photos, videos, timelines, it's not something you can quietly just rewrite and expect no one to notice. All right, so next is where Charlie Kirk finally enters the picture. So May of 2018, Charlie Kirk travels to Jerusalem, and randomly, Erika and her mother are there too, but not with Charlie. According to Erika, she noticed Charlie at the airport ticket line and thought that he looked familiar, but didn't say anything to him at the time. So just remember that for a different episode, that Erika was in Israel at the same time as Charlie, but they hadn't met yet. Okay, then in August, Erika attended the Turning Point USA office opening in Arizona and was officially introduced to Charlie by Tyler Boyer. Then a few months later, in September of 2018, that's when the story shifts. That's when they officially start dating after their interview turned date at Bill's Burgers in New York. Some people believe that Erika is a fame seeker, or what they would call a social climber. And that opinion largely comes from a pattern that they're seeing, right? Because when you look at her dating history, it often involves men who are already established in high profile spaces, whether that's a professional athlete or politics. That seems to be her pattern. And then you add in her background. She's competed in multiple beauty pageants, appeared on reality TV, hosted interviews with celebrities, worked as a casting director, showed up in a music video, and was even cast as a lead in a film called November Renaissance. So let's talk about the film November Renaissance for a second. So this is a photo of Erika as the main person in the movie poster. This was a movie centered around corporate espionage and global intelligence operations. Now, the film itself was never officially released, but the actors and the crew members were reportedly connected to Fort Huachuca, which is a military intelligence base in Arizona. I mean, the movie was literally filmed at Fort Huachuca. And side note, Fort Huachuca is where Mitch Snow said that he allegedly saw Erika Kirk and Brian Harple having a secret meeting a couple days before Charlie was assassinated. And I'm not saying that they did. I am saying that's what Mitch Snow said. And he said he was like 95 to 99% sure that it was them. But it's interesting that Erika acts like she's not familiar with Fort Huachuca or Huachuca, whatever it is. It sounds like a sneeze. But in reality, she filmed a movie there. So the movie's plot about corporate espionage seems to be pretty aligned with Erika's mother's work, allegedly creating technology for the Department of Homeland Security and military operations. So it kind of makes you wonder how Erika got this role and whether her mother was based at this military facility for her work. This is a photo from the movie that I've been told was posted to Erika's Instagram in 2013, where it looks like she's playing a sniper on a roof. Another weird film she was in back in February of 2017, or I guess it was a documentary, was called Black Start by Patria Patrick. And it's about EMP attacks and how the government needs to prepare for them. So the documentary also features the former CIA director, James Woosley. So how did Erika have the credentials to get a role in a documentary with the former CIA director? I'm going to play this clip of Erika in this documentary so you can see what I'm referring to.
Completely unprotected.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis, they hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
Well, there are 18 critical infrastructures in the United States: food, water, transportation, communications, etc.
So this wasn't just some random indie project, right? When you have someone like the former CIA director involved, people start wondering how others in the film were brought in. So I personally would love to know what connections and qualifications did Erika have to be both in November Renaissance and also Black Start. Okay, so moving on from that, this next part is where things become a lot more serious and a lot more sensitive, I would say. So back in 2013, Erika began a very interesting relationship with a then 15-year-old named Jillian. And this is something that's been discussed by multiple commentators, including Baron Coleman, Candace Owens, and Nissi, who have all covered it in detail. And both Baron and Candace have said that they've spoken directly with Jillian to get her account of what happened. Now, based on what's been reported, Erika was 25 years old at the time and was in a relationship with the basketball player Joshua Harrelson. And he was living in Michigan, and Erika had moved out there to be with him, which she also doesn't mention in her CBS interview. Anyways, so on the evening of September 15th, 2013, Joshua and Erika met this 15-year-old girl named Jillian. And Nissi did a great job of finding these old posts on X, or Twitter at the time, which I'm about to show you. So on September 15th, 2013, Jillian tweeted that she was out for sushi with her friend. And 2 hours later, she tweeted, "Just met Miss Arizona and Josh Harrelson." Like I said, Candace Owens has spoke to Jillian, and Jillian confirmed that her friend's grandparents were renting a home to Erika in Michigan, and they first met up regarding payment for rent. And after they first met, Erika began what I consider to be a very odd relationship with Jillian, in my opinion. You can make your own opinion after you hear this. It's just quite alarming how much interest Erika showed in this girl. Well, during this payment meetup, Erika and her exchanged numbers, and they began texting and calling and interacting on social media platforms. And, as teenagers do, they document everything on social media. So on October 9th, 2013, Jillian tweeted, "Next to Miss Arizona at Bar Louie." After this post, Jillian made many more posts on Twitter tagging Erika, and Erika replied to Jillian's post, but the replies are not visible anymore because Erika's old account is now private. So for example, 2 days after the Bar Louie post, Jillian tweeted, "At Erika Francfe, dying because you're so pretty." And you can see Erika replied to it, but it's now gone. And then Jillian replied to Erika saying, "At Erika Francfe, we miss you too." Here's another example from November 7th, 2013. And Jillian replies to Erika's post saying, "At Erika Francfe, fell in love with the world in you." And here's Jillian calling Erika her woman crush Wednesday. And there are many other tweets like this, but I'm not going to show them all because there's a lot. It just seems to me like Jillian was being a typical 15-year-old girl who really admired Erika at the time. I mean, she was Miss Arizona after all. And I remember when I was 15, I really loved the movie Transformers. I mean, I still do. And I was obsessed with Megan Fox because I thought she was so beautiful. I mean, she still is. But if I had met Megan Fox in person at 15 years old and she started communicating with me on social media, I probably would have acted the same way, to be honest. I even remember making a Woman Crush Wednesday post about Megan Fox back in the day. And this is kind of funny. Maybe you guys can relate, maybe not. I'm not sure. Maybe you're going to think I'm weird. But you know how girls name their cars? Like in high school? Maybe even post high school? Well, I named mine Megan Fox back in high school. So all I'm trying to say is that it's probably how Jillian felt about Erika. And for the record, I am attracted to men, not women. I just want to say that. But all I'm trying to say is teenage girls are incredibly impressionable, especially when it comes to someone that they admire, right? And that kind of admiration can turn into something much stronger really quickly. And that's exactly why boundaries matter. Because when you're the adult in that situation, especially at 25, you're the one responsible for setting the tone and creating distance when it's needed and making sure things stay appropriate. And according to what's been shared about the situation, that didn't really happen. Now, I know to some of you, this might come across as one-sided, like Jillian's the one really pushing this communication, but it's important to keep a few things in mind, right? This wasn't limited to what was visible publicly. There were also private conversations happening. There's text messages, phone calls, the kind of communication that we don't have full access to. And on top of that, Erika's tweets from that time are private. So we're not seeing her side of those interactions either. So when you look at what's available, it's only part of the picture. Okay, so let's keep going because I have more. So on February 13th, 2014, Jillian tweets, "Why did at Erika Francfe send me this?" with laughing emojis. And as you can see, Erika sent her a meme saying, "This Valentine's Day, I'm going to touch your butt." You might think Erika's just being funny. Could be innocent, maybe, right? Maybe, maybe not. Well, on March 6th of 2014, Erika says, "Let me call you. Hold on, sweetheart. Give me a sex." Wow. Then Jillian says, "Okay," and puts laughing emojis. Erika then says, "Sec. Sex too, but not from you. LOL. Then Jillian replies, "Holy shit, you always make me laugh," with laughing emojis. Then Erika replies, "I don't bat for the other team just yet." Does this not seem like Erika's flirting with this girl? Remember, Erika's 25 and Jillian's 15. And this is all happening after Erika won Miss Arizona, and this is happening while she is running her child trafficking charity, Romanian Angels. How does she have the time to be entertaining this young girl? And why is she so interested in talking to her and commenting on her Twitter and Instagram posts? Then on March 26, 2014, Jillian tweets, "Thank you at Erika Francfe for making my whole week," with a meme that I am assuming Erika sent her, which is a picture of a gnome saying, "I want to be inside your lady garden." Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Then on June 7th, 2014, Jillian shares a screenshot of her text messages with Erika where Erika says, "You have the most stunning features." Jillian responds, "Best compliment ever." Erika replies, "Your eyes, your lips, your skin, you're absolutely beautiful." Jillian then says, "You're making me cry." The lips part is really weird in my opinion. Keep in mind, if Erika was a 25-year-old man communicating with a 15-year-old girl like this could easily be reported. But since Erika's a woman who's a public figure, it was never questioned. And it gets worse. I'm going to read this bizarre text exchange and then I'll explain the context. So Erika says, "I forgot to tell you, hydrate tonight, no alcohol, and don't eat a lot of salty foods. You don't want to look bloated." Jillian responds, "Thank you." So then Erika says, "No alcohol? Really, Erika? Age recognition, you twat waffle. Apparently I haven't had my coffee yet." Jillian says, "What the hell, Erika?" with the laughing emoji. Erika says, "Well, on that bite, note, damn you, Siri, come on, hashtag the struggle." Jillian says, "What are you trying to say? Spit it out, you twat waffle." So what is Erika talking about in this text exchange? People assume that they might have gone somewhere together, but no. That exchange is actually in reference to Erika setting Jillian up to be photographed by a photographer. Jillian said Erika arranged the entire thing and the photographer was a creepy, short, chubby man. And this was all done without her parents' consent. Okay. Any photographer that is taking photos of a 15-year-old girl without their parents' consent is creepy. Also, any person arranging photos to be taken of a 15-year-old girl without their parents' permission is also very questionable. And Jillian told Candace that Erika never spoke to her mother beforehand. And I just think that is highly inappropriate. Jillian is now 27, I believe, and she said at the time she was blown away by this beautiful, older, famous girl giving her all this attention. But now she thinks it's very weird that Erika treated her this way when she was just a young girl. And, you know, I don't know what Erika's intentions were here, and I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm just simply showing you what's been circulating online and why people find this to be inappropriate. And considering at the time, Erika was running a charity in Romania that has allegations of trafficking children, to see how she was interacting with this young girl who she barely knew is a little weird. And I'll get more into her charity and the allegations in a different episode. So I want to end with something that recently came out that a lot of people are talking about. I'm sure many of you have heard about the controversy online about whether Charlie Kirk really appointed Erika to run Turning Point USA if anything should happen to him, because a lot of people don't think that he ever said that or ever even thought it. First, I just want to say this. Charlie Kirk has said many, many times that he believes a woman's job, if she has kids, is to stay at home and be with the children, not to work. So if a man was assassinated because of his job, why would he want his stay-at-home wife with 2 young kids to take over the same role? So Turning Point claims there is a video of Charlie Kirk at a donors event in Aspen saying, and I quote, "I appoint my wife to run Turning Point USA. Erika would do a great job." And to be clear, there is an audio recording of this, and we've all heard it. But Turning Point refuses to release the video. They will not release it. Erika Kirk did an event with Megyn Kelly not too long ago where she was specifically talking about this donor event in Aspen and specifically said that Charlie said Erika will do a great job running it. And right after she says that she just watched that video this week. So there is no denying that Erika and Turning Point USA say that this video exists. And side note, Blake Neff has also confirmed on the Charlie Kirk show that this video exists as well. So let's watch that clip.
My husband, in August, before all this happened, he had a event where he had some donors at. And one of the first questions they asked was, God forbid if something happens to you, like what would happen next to Turning Point? And Charlie made a really interesting point. He said, companies, example, Apple, Macintosh, he said they're founder-led. He said, but what I have built will one day, if I'm not around, be vision-led. And he had made mention at the end, Erika will do a great job running it. And when I watched that video this week, it really put into perspective my youth and what I went through growing up and what I witnessed, my mom having her own company and being a single mother and watching her be the blueprint of, I'm not afraid of raising my children alone because I saw my mom do that. I'm not afraid of being a CEO because I saw my mom do that. The only thing that I fear, to be fully transparent with you, is being out of the alignment of God's will, because I feel like that is a very dangerous position to be in.
Okay, so we all just heard Erika describing this moment and saying that there is a video. I'll just want to point out one thing. Erika was just dishonest again. She was not raised by a single mother, at all. Her father, Kent Francevey, was in fact a stay-at-home dad with her for several years when Erika was around 4 years old. Her parents didn't divorce till she was 10, and her father remained very involved throughout her teenage years. So her dad was in her life as well as her stepfather. So I have no idea why she felt the need to be dishonest about that too. But I'll talk more about her family dynamics in a different episode. Okay, so now I'm going to play the actual audio of Charlie saying these words. Erika has them play this audio when she's walking out to her speech at America Fest this past December. So let's watch that clip and just listen closely.
A lot of this could be done without me, and I believe that. From the high school department, the college department, let's make Turning Point so big that it can survive beyond just the founder. A lot of organizations and groups, as soon as a founder leaves, it just kind of collapses. A lot of my job is not always in the day-to-day details. It's very much vision casting, very much driving success. But we have a great board, and God forbid if something happens, they'll figure it out. I appoint my wife to run Turning Point USA if something happens to me. Erika would do a great job.
So just remember that audio, because what I'm going to show you in a minute is pretty crazy. And remember how she said that they have a video of him saying this. Why wouldn't they have just played that video? That'd be a pretty amazing thing to see. A never before seen video of Charlie saying those specific words at America Fest, right? How iconic. Erika's walking out. Then you have this never before seen video of Charlie saying in his own words that he thinks Erika should run the company. If they played that video, there would be no dispute, right? Okay, well, get this. 2 donors who were actually at the donors event in Aspen told Candace Owens that he never said that. They said Erika was not even mentioned. They are shocked that Turning Point is pushing this And they allegedly said that they think Turning Point used AI to create the audio recording. Okay, so where's the video? If the audio is real, release the footage. If not, what are we looking at? Okay, especially after Andrew Colvett admitted a Charlie GPT, like a chat GPT, basically an AI version of Charlie. Well, this idea was pitched to Turning Point. And Andrew Colvett said this in an interview with the New York Times. He said that they turned it down. But are we supposed to believe that that wasn't explored? Like, really? Really? I don't know. Because if that audio of Charlie saying that he appoints Erika is fabricated, that's not just misleading. That's literally using AI to put words in a dead man's mouth to push an agenda. So I'm going to show you something that's pretty funny, but also terrifying. So shout out to AdFleet. She makes some of the most creative and brilliant work that I've seen when it comes to AI. And she single-handedly proves that this video I'm about to show you that you can easily take Charlie's voice and make him say whatever you want. So let's take a look at this fun little video, but really pay attention to the audio.
A lot of this could be done without me, and I believe that. I mean, from the high school department, the college department, let's make Turning Point so big that it can survive beyond just the founder. A lot of organizations and groups, as soon as a founder leaves, it just kind of collapses. A lot of my job is not always in the day-to-day details. It's very much vision casting, very much driving success. But we have a great board, and God forbid if something happens, they'll figure it out. And by figure it out, I mean they will appoint Baron Coleman as CEO of Turning Point and Candace Owens as COO. I think they are both exceptional people and would do such a good job in honoring my legacy.
Hey, maybe that's the real recording. Who knows? Obviously, that video and audio aren't real, but do you see how real AI is getting? Do you see why people don't trust Erika and TPUSA just on their word because it's so easy to fake things now? Do you see why people don't believe Erika and TPUSA because they won't release the video? Like, if you have the video, just shut this shit down and prove to everyone that he said that. It's not that hard. Candace has done this before, and I'm going to do it again. I am calling on Erika and all of Turning Point USA to please release the video of Charlie Kirk saying the words you're claiming that he said in the audio. If you don't, it's very suspicious, and I don't trust you. Don't tell me it isn't possible that Turning Point USA could have used AI to make that recording. Don't tell me that, because it is entirely possible. And right now, that's what I think. That is my opinion, and I have every right to be entitled to my opinion. So, with that being said, that is all I have for you today. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe if you feel so inclined. But like I said earlier, I will be diving more into Erika's past in the next couple episodes. If there's something specific you'd like me to address, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, that's all I got. And I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.